Thanks for tuning in to the Better Business Podcast, where down-to-earth entrepreneurs like you and me get to share what it's like running their own business. If you'd like to get involved, listen in at the end of this episode to find out how. So let's hear from today's guest. Hello and welcome to the Better Business Podcast, where I talk to business owners about the highs and lows, the pitfalls and the successes, the agony and the ecstasy of running a business. My name is Justin Challoner, and with me today is Carina Jenkins, who runs multiple businesses whilst juggling 3 kids and a husband. And we're going to be finding out all about how she does it and how she runs her business. So hi Carina, how are you and how's your week been so far?
Morning. It's been really good. I've in the middle of setting up a new company, so it's been very stressful organising all that, but I can't complain. Things are all looking good and the sun is out, so yeah, no complaints my end.
Good stuff. Well, I'll be interested to hear about this new business. But first of all, can you tell the audience about yourself, your business, and what you do, or your businesses rather, and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Carina Jenkins. I am proudly to be a mum of 3 young ones, 7, 4, and 1. I'm also married and I live in Penarth. So the companies that I have, I've got a cleaning and maintenance company that I've got with my family. So me and my mum set this up about 8 years ago, and we've got 25 members of staff, and we've got a head office in Cathays. We do all sorts of from building sites to offices to Airbnbs. We cover it all. So I'm very proud family business owner of that. I then also went into energy healing and breathwork, which is very random. But during COVID, I think a lot of people went through down the self-discovery journey, which I did. So I utilized that time effectively. Well, we didn't have anything else to do, really, did we? So we sort of, I went down my spiritual route. I was always quite spiritual anyway. But I just delved into it further and it completely transformed my life. And that is where the pivotal moment was for me to level up. And so I wanted to be able to live both corporate and spiritual worlds in harmony. And I think I do that very successfully. So I created a little business doing energy healing and breath work. I work with students in high schools. I work with kids on wellbeing retreats. I work with adults. So it's very varied, but it's extremely, extremely rewarding. I also do property investing, which is a new business. We've got properties in Portugal and we've got properties in Wales. And then recently I've just set up a lift repair maintenance company. It's a very random journey, which I didn't envisage doing, but an opportunity fell into my lap, which I can never say no to. So yeah, that's me and my entourage.
Right. So yeah, you've got a lot going on and you have 3 kids. Is that right?
Yes, 3 young ones.
Yeah. And what is relatively new to the family. Is that right? Is that
Yeah, my
yeah.
youngest is 1.5, and so obviously we're going through the fun where she's learning to talk and she can't really communicate, so we're trying to figure out. And she's given lots of tantrums and she eats me out of a home. But they all are amazing children. I can't complain. They're very laid back, and so being a mother to them is easy in terms of like most motherhoods.
Yeah.
But it is hard in terms of there's just always someone to feed. There's always someone to dress. I'm always walking around like the crazy bag lady. I've got like 10 bags every time I leave the house. It's just
Yeah.
ridiculous. So I thought it would be a lot easier than I had planned. It is not. It's hard with 3 kids. But that's the battle I've got with, being a mum and having that guilt of, I want to have a big family, but also I've got this pull to be ambitious and successful, and I've got the knowledge. So it's trying to fulfill both sides of my life, which is very difficult.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
And you want to provide for your kids, don't you? So, you have to put the work in to be able to provide for them as well, don't you?
Yeah. So like me and my husband together, we can provide that. I don't have to be as driven as I need to be, but
Yeah.
I I don't know. I come from a very hardworking family. Like my mother has been working since she was 12 years old. So I've grown up seeing my entire family work 7 days a week. So that's built and drilled into me. But obviously becoming a mum, I've discovered that I don't want to be working 7 days a week.
Mm.
I want to be a mum and I want to spend my kids. And luckily, I've created a lifestyle where I can go to every school pickup, I can go to every school concert, I can do every school sports day. I will never miss one of those appointments, which is why I wanted to be self-employed so much. But as I've got busier and more knowledgeable and more entrepreneurial, I just keep taking on these ventures because I just get so excited by them and I want to create. I love creating. So I love creating businesses. They don't always
Mm.
work out, but some of them do. But I don't, it's not a case I want to provide for my family because I know we'll be okay if I just had a job or if I just had one business. So this pull to have multiple businesses is more of my personality of creating. But I
Right. Yeah.
suppose I build up these businesses that they self-sustained, sustainable, and that they run themselves so that I could have the freedom to do whatever I want. So I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's obviously I do want to provide for my family and I will, but that can be achieved whichever route I go down.
That's not the main driver for what you do. Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. So how do you juggle running multiple businesses and looking after a family of three? Well, family of there's five of you, isn't there? So do you have any pets as well?
I have a cat.
You have a cat. Okay, so you got to look after cat as well. So how do you juggle all that? How do you manage all that?
It is down to my energy healing, my breath work. I don't know how people just day by day go around their lives without doing some sort of like spiritual healing because I everything is energy based. Like we're made of energy. We are full energy beings. So I believe that if I constantly work on myself and work on my energy, then I can handle anything. So, life is chaotic, life is stressful, but having those moments to meditate or journal or ground or work on my energy, it just helps me reground because if you're constantly on motion, you're going to burn out and break down.
Mm,
And yeah, I still have breakdowns. There are a lot of times where I feel completely overwhelmed and and I'm just like, oh my God, how am I going to handle all this? But then I get back to my practices. I meditate and I do my energy healing that I trained in. I focus on my breathing techniques. And my breathwork was an ultimate game changer for me because I realized that we were all over breathing and we were all living in a fight or flight mode.
mm,
So I do get asked that question quite a lot. I don't understand how you do it all, but that is because I look after myself. If I don't look after myself, my businesses, my home, my kids, my husband, they would all go, it would all go Pete on.
yeah.
I am selfish enough to make sure that I look after myself, and ultimately everything else gets looked after as well. So that's how I'm constantly working on my breath work. I'm constantly doing my energy healing. I constantly carve out time to make sure I exercise. I eat well. So I am very selfish when it comes to self-care because then
Mm,
if I'm looked after, then everyone else around me is looked after.
yeah. Yeah. It's a bit like that thing with an aeroplane, if you uh if the pressure drops or the oxygen drops or something, so I don't know the technical terms, but you have to put the mask on yourself, don't you, before you help other people. And that's something they always say, isn't it? And that's whole thing of, yeah, you can't help other people if you're injured or if you're incapacitated. So you got to look after yourself first, and then you can help people, can't you?
100%. And I'm all about leveling up. So there are moments in your life where you do feel like you've hit the ceiling and you can't do any more, but there is always more you can do. And there's always something that you can do. And I'm a problem solver. So
Mm,
if something's not working, I will never make an excuse for it. I'll always think, right, well, how can I find a solution? And the fact that when I got to a point where I was like, I want more for my life. And the moment I started working on myself and I was able to get rid of all the baggage, get rid of all the crap that's holding me down mentally and physically, you level up and you just hit this other part of your lifestyle that you just never dreamed of. And
yeah.
I'm in awe of the things that I've achieved, but I'm not anyone different. All I've done is I've worked on myself. I put money into me and nothing else. And the moment I started investing in myself, I started working on my energy, I started working on my mental resilience, my life just literally excelled. to another level that I never dreamed of. So I will always tell people before they're like, oh, I wish I put money in, what should I invest in? Yourself.
Mm.
You always invest in yourself.
Yeah.
You will never be given what you're deserved or owed until you learn to appreciate yourself and love yourself, because ultimately you're the running machine for everything in your life. So if you're not looking after yourself, then the universe isn't going to bless you with everything it has to offer.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have you said you've always been a spiritual person, or is that something that sort of has come on later in life, or?
Definitely later on in life. I've always been in the corporate world, but obviously I love going for like tarot readings, and I now and again have a psychic reading, or I love watching the spiritual shows on TV. Um, so I've always like had an interest in it, but I always thought, these people who are gifted with speaking to dead people, or opening their third eye and being able to give readings, tarot cards, they were born with a gift. But when I sort of explored it in COVID, I realized that it's just like a skill, like a carpentry skill or learning to paint. Everything you've got is within you. Everyone has a third eye, everyone has chakras, everyone has energy fields, everyone has blood and skin cells. We're all made entirely the same. So it's dependent on what you want to work on and what you want to learn. So when I realized that I could learn the spiritual side of things, I sort of went down that route, and it just blew open everything that I knew. Well, it changed my whole perspective on life. And
Mm.
I then realized that I could live both worlds. I could be very corporate and I could be very spiritual. And I love proving people wrong. And I love getting people from the corporate world into the spiritual side of things and showing them that, you don't have to be, I don't know, covered in crystals and run around a forest, singing hymns. Like, you can be spiritual and be corporate and look normal. So that's why
Mm.
people get really confused when they see me. They're like, I don't understand why you do energy healing. But I don't look like a typical energy healer. And that's what I like. I like to prove people wrong, and I like to shock people and to show people there is another way.
Let's talk about the businesses. Let's talk about what you do. And I mean, how long have you been running your own? Have you been doing entrepreneurial stuff? Is that something you've always been doing, or? Um,
No, I left uni and I was a typical student, picking up any job that came. So I worked in restaurants, I worked in bars, I worked as a videographer's assistant. I worked everywhere. I had the most random jobs, as you do. You just want to get money in. But then I was taken on as a PA and admin assistant for a guy called Andrew Donnelly in the mental health care home. So we started working from his office. He had a garage on the side of his house, and we started working there. And then 5 years later, I think it was, we had outgrown the office twice. So we moved to a little office in Kincoid, and then we outgrew that and had to buy a huge pub that we converted to an office. So we grew the company quite significantly, and I got to see the process. He was such an amazing mentor. I learned so much from him, and I was able to see how a finance department, a marketing department, HR, staff training, I got to see how properties were developed. I worked so closely with him over that 5 years that I was able to see how an entire company was grown from nothing to turning over millions of pounds. And that sparked something in me. It got me so excited for creating, and that's why I love creating businesses. When it gets to sort of the business running itself, I sort of lose interest because I'm like, oh,
mm,
I don't get to create anything, so I lose
yeah.
momentum, which is why I love creating new businesses, or get excited when somebody's creating a business. But that is where it was a turning point for me, because had I just been working in my usual jobs, I would have only known how to run a job. But I was able to see an entire process from a startup to a successful £1 million company. And it sparked my entrepreneurial spirit. That's when I bought my first property in Portugal, um, which was 7 years ago. And ever since then, I got screwed over by a company for maternity pay. And that was the moment where I was like, I am not relying on people for money. I
Mm.
cannot let someone else be in charge of my wages. When you have kids, you just become a lioness and you just want to protect them. And I was like, I'm not having anyone holding a paycheck over me. So I will be in charge of this going forward. So when I had my first child, it just sort of made me realize that I need more for them and for me. So
Mm.
that's when it all changed, really.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So, uh, what have you learned? What's the kind of your biggest learning from this process of starting businesses and, in your time as an entrepreneur? What would you say your kind of key areas of learning?
There's been lots of lessons. It's been seven
Mm.
years of making lots of mistakes, lots of breakdowns, lots of giving up. Um, I would probably say using my strengths would be I was always trying to force myself to get big on social media because that's what everyone was doing and that's the only way a company could be successful. But I realized that I just ultimately have to use my strengths. I know that I could walk into a room full of people and sell and build relationships and build rapport with people. So that's why I always chose networking over online marketing because I could spend loads of money on e-newsletters and emails and social media, but I like to work with people and I'm very
Mm.
much a people person. So I realized over the years that I've just got to accept that and stop trying to break the internet with all these businesses. I've just got to do what I can with the skills that I've got. So I've accepted that networking is my strength and I'm going to keep doing that to get business in. So I think definitely listening to my gut instinct, also delegating. I'm the biggest lesson I've learned is because I'm an absolute control freak,
Mm.
as you can probably tell. So I I releasing control, but that has only been in like the last year or so. I have for years just been like, no, only I can do it. No one else can do it like I
Mm.
can. And I'm not going to teach anyone because then if they make it wrong, it's not going to be good. Like I'd rather just keep the control in house. And so it's hindered me a lot and it's held me back. So the last couple of years I've worked on that and recently I have learned to let go of control. And I think it's helped me well, mentally I'm less stressed. And two,
Yeah.
it does open opportunities for other people to get involved, and it does sort my ego out because I can learn different ways of doing things from other people. So I definitely learned to delegate
Mm.
and learn that community can be just as powerful as social media.
Yeah. Yeah. That personal touch can make a big difference, can't it? Um,
Yeah.
like we're so kind of we're used to what we're doing now, like online conversations. Since COVID, that's just been a big part of our lives. But um, having face-to-face interaction, it just adds that other dimension, doesn't it? And just makes things, um, I don't know, it just makes it more real and
Yeah.
you get to know people better, don't you? Um,
Yeah, people do buy off people, don't they? And
yeah,
as much as I'd love to be, an international sensation with all these businesses all over the world and an online presence, I've just accepted that I hate social media. I can't stand it. I'm not good
yeah,
with posting. I can't keep up with the trends. I don't like the algorithm. And I'm just like, do you know what? I've got to accept that that's not me. And I've done everything I can to, I've worked with public speaking coaches to try and work on my social media strategy. I've, delegated my online marketing to outsource to companies, but it's just never worked. So
mm,
I just realized I'm gonna do what I know, and that is get myself into rooms. And I've always, and so if that means just keeping my company small and local, then that's okay.
yeah,
I don't need to be national. Like I can just be local, and because I like people, I'm really
yeah,
good with people.
yeah. Yeah, I guess the danger if you get too big, it can be a bit overwhelming, and you lose that personal touch, don't you?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's the ego side. People, just think once you're good at growing a company, like you've got to get big. You don't, and that's what I questioned with my mum a lot because we were always like, what's the next step? What's the next step? And it's always obviously just getting bigger and bigger. And we're like, but why do we want to get bigger? And that's what I kept asking. I was like, what is the purpose? But it just always seemed the natural next step.
mm,
So I did question ourselves a lot. It's like, is this what's right for us? Like, yes, that's what other cleaning companies do, but is that necessarily what we want?
yeah, Yeah. Growth for growth's sake is not necessarily a good thing, is it?
No.
No, no. So what would you say are the kind of have been the barriers to running your business? What have you kind of come up against that you've had to sort of wrestle with and, you know, get through or whatever?
Well, in terms of me personally, it's just being a mum. Every kid
Yeah.
I've had, um, as soon as I give birth, I just go through this overwhelmness of, oh my God, what am I doing? And it does hold you back because it's not like a normal maternity where I can take 9 months off and I can just focus on the baby. Was lying in hospital with my second doing invoices, emailing contractors, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't keep this momentum up.
Yeah.
So I have like a moment, and especially with hormones as well, I could go through a breakdown. I'm like, I can't do this. What have I done? So the barriers are juggling that mum guilt with you've got a business to run. So what are you going to do? And I can't take maternity. As much as I've said, yeah, I'm going to take time off, it never works that way. And my mind doesn't let me. My mind, and that's when I'm having those moments of rest with the baby, that's when my mind comes alive. Like I'm able to relax and enjoy time with the baby. But because I'm not focusing on the day-to-day running of the business, I'm like, oh, I could do that, or maybe I could do this. So it's great because
Yeah.
it teaches me to slow down, it teaches me patience. Each child has pulled me back. And at the time, it felt like it was holding me back. But when I look at it now, I see that it's only, you've got to go backwards to propel forwards. So it slowed me down for a reason. But at the time, mentally, it is exhausting because you know that you're capable of so much more, but you're just spent day in, day out dealing with nappies and cooking and tiredness and emotions. So I mentally, that has been the biggest barrier for me is managing mum life with businesses and the guilt that comes with that, which mainly is down to, I think, social media again, because you're comparing yourself to all these
Mm.
other mums. Like I look at a mum with 5 kids and she's bossing life on social media, and I'm like, how are you doing that? I can't even do one post a week, and I've got 3 kids. Like I don't understand. Like how are you? I'm like, how does your house look like that? My house is an absolute tip. So that is obviously down to modern age of you're constantly comparing yourself. So that emotionally is what I've been up against. In terms of business, obviously there's industry issues that we've come across, especially with the cleaning. The market is saturated. There's so many cleaning companies.
Mm.
So we're in that awkward period where we're right in the middle. Like you've got these one-man bands who can charge next to nothing because they've got no overheads.
Right.
But then
Yeah.
I'm up against the massive, huge companies who've got these big contracts that are paying for all these overheads plus extra. So we're in this really awkward stage in the company where we've got loads of overheads because we've got fleets, we've got 25 members of staff, we've got an office, we've got contracts, but the profit margin is very slim.
Mm.
So it's hard. It really is hard in the cleaning industry, which is where I pushed going into property investing because I know property like the back of my hand. I can do it in my sleep, and I feel more comfortable knowing that I've got that consistent revenue coming in, without having to basically push for more work.
Yeah. And what's it like working with family? How do you find that? You probably can't say some stuff, but I'm just
No,
interested to know what it's like.
there's lots of swear words.
Right.
There's
Okay.
lots of shouting because I'm Portuguese, so my mum is a typical loud Portuguese person. And if you've ever been to one of our company meetings, it's I do feel sorry for one of the Welsh ladies, Deborah. She is horrified at how loud Portuguese people can get, especially when there's like 15 of them in one room.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're used to it. Like when I've got like hundreds of Portuguese people talking at me, I can decipher it and I can just take it all in. But she's just like, I don't understand how you can concentrate on any one person.
Yeah.
I was like, you got to see them as a collective. So Portuguese people, they're very feisty, and at the beginning it was difficult because there was a lot of disagreements. But as we've matured, especially me and my mum has matured as people, and there's been so many arguments over the years, but the disagreements are more diplomatic. So before it was
Mm.
just a lot of screaming and shouting and then storming out. And now it's very much like, okay, let's talk about this. No, I don't, I disagree, let's do this. So we're very mature now, which I'm very proud of us for that. But it still gets a bit heated, which other people are like, oh my God, you're shouting at each other. We're not, we're just talking very loudly. And that's
Yeah.
how we communicate. So from an outsider's perspective, they must think we're batshit crazy. But to to me, it's quite normal. My husband obviously is just like, what the hell have I married into?
So he's
Um,
he's not he's not Portuguese.
no, he was born in
It's
Cardiff, so
right.
he's from a typical British family. They're very quiet, they're very
Very
reserved,
reserved. Yeah.
stoic, you don't show a lot of emotion. Whereas the opposite end of that is, I'm very loud. I went straight up to his parents and hugged them when I first met them, and I'm very touchy-feely, and they're just like, oh my God, what is this crazy Portuguese person in our house? So it is like two worlds combusted. So that's taken a lot in terms, and he's very controlled, and he doesn't like taking risks, and he's very um he analyzes everything. He's an overthinker, whereas I'm the complete opposite. Whereas I go gung ho into situations, and I'm like, yeah, we don't need to do any research. Let's just take it on. But we've really worked together because now he takes a bit more risks. I've sort of simmered down a bit and a bit more responsible. So luckily, I have never been in a situation where I've started a business and I've lost hundreds of thousands of pounds, because my husband will literally like fine comb through every single detail before starting anything. So we have
Yeah.
started some things and it hasn't worked out, but nothing financially that has screwed us over massively, or we've lost our house. It's just a case of, okay, that didn't work. Don't worry, we'll on to the next venture. So I'm glad I've met him because he has literally grounded me. But I'm glad that I've been able to show him that you can take risks, you can be a bit
Mm.
adventurous. So I like that I've had an impact on him just as much as he had an impact on me.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great combination, isn't it? You've got two people who have very different outlooks on things, and yeah, when you put them together, they sort of help each other out because one of you might be up here with something and the other person's down here, but you sort of balance out each other, and I think that's great. Yeah, it's great to hear about how that's obviously made you kind of more effective as a couple almost. You sort of
Yeah,
you kind of play off each other's strengths kind of thing. Um,
massively. He is my
yeah,
sound. But I don't invest much money in business coaches because my husband's a know-it-all. So we just go to each other for business advice, mainly me to
yeah.
him because he's always saying to me, "No, I'm not spending money on that."
Yeah, someone just to put the brakes on a little bit, just so you don't go completely crazy.
Pretty much.
So uh with I suppose having family members kind of on your team, you can have those arguments, can't you? And you can kind of get away with it. And it's I suppose it does depend on your relationship, but I think obviously family is family, and you can't get rid of your family unless you're a gangster or something. But you can't get. It's different with like a colleague or an employee, isn't it? You could be a bit more real with people, with your family, and sometimes you need that, don't you? Sometimes you need that honesty and openness.
Yeah, well, I'm an open book anyway. So anyone I've worked with, I've always had a good relationship with people, and I trust them like they're one of our own. So I've never really been reserved, which a
Mm,
lot of people see that as naivety, but I go into everything with an open heart. And anyone who comes into our businesses, I instantly treat like family because I want them to feel respected. I want them to feel um acknowledged and worthy. So I treat people how I'd like to be treated. So I don't yeah, I don't we don't naturally choose family because of, oh, we got to keep it in the family. It's just how it's worked out. Because we've got such a big family and such a big network. Whenever we need a job, somebody says, "Oh, can I come work for you?" And we've created it from there. Like my cousin is the office manager for the cleaning company. My stepdad runs the maintenance division. My mum runs the cleaning team, and then we've got my cousin's husband working as one of the cleaners. So it's not we only choose family because a lot of the cleaners are not related, but
mm,
it just that's how it works. And I feel like I can be honest with pretty much anyone because I expect open communication from anyone. I wouldn't want anyone to bitch about us behind our back or be sly, so I wouldn't do it to them in the first place. So if I'm open and honest with people, then I expect them to be open and honest with me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, fair enough. Fair enough. Um, so we have, I think we talked about some of the kind of highs and lows, but any particular times where it's been really, really difficult, if you're happy to share, that you've experienced, and maybe you could sort of talk us through how did you get through that? In terms of your business, has there been any really difficult times where you just think, ah, I got to sack this in because it's just too much? And how did you get through that? How did you kind of deal with that?
I've given up a lot, and they're mainly after I've had birth. So after my first child, that was each child was giving me a different lesson. So I get through life and I create a business and then I have a baby and I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? And then I do that for a couple of years and I get pregnant, life's great. And then I give birth and I'm like, oh my God, I've got two babies and I got these businesses. And then I did it again a third time. So I don't think there was one pivotal moment where I failed or gave up. I gave up quite a lot of times, multiple occasions. And it was normally after I've given birth because your hormones are just through the roof. You're tired, you're overwhelmed. So there was not one moment. There was definitely three that I can think of, and they were exactly after I had each child, because I'm there with a newborn baby. I'm For some reason I've forgotten how to look after kids, and you don't remember. Every kid is different, and every
Yeah.
kid you learn something new. And so I'm I always say, right, no, I've got to be a mum. I've got to focus on this. I can't focus on the business. But then I remember feeling really low after I had Addie because I admitted that I didn't want to do this anymore. And I said to Michael, I'm not going to work. I'm just going to be a mum. And I remember feeling really depressed and feeling miserable, waiting for him to come home every day. And like at 4 o'clock, I'd be looking at my phone, thinking, when is he going to come home? And he would come in flying through the door and he would be bouncing around and chatty and talking about work. And I'm like, oh, I've changed two nappies today and I've watched Peppa Pig. Like it was miserable.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I get it, like that is some people's life and they're so content. And I would love
Mm.
nothing more than to have been content with that lifestyle. But I've accepted, and I did try to change myself. I said, no, this
Yeah.
I'm very lucky to be in this situation. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom and I'm going to enjoy it and I'm going to be there for my children 24/7 and my husband. But I hated it. For 3 months, I
Mm.
was like just so miserable and depressed.
It's
And
just not you. It's not
no,
it's not how you tick.
no, and
Yeah.
I felt guilty. Like I should have been so like so many people would have loved to be in that situation to have not
Yeah.
worried about money and to be able to just relax and be a mum. But I battled with that guilt of not being grateful. But then I realized that it took about 4 years, 4 years of doing a lot of work. I did everything from hypnotherapy, energy healing, timeline therapy, like breath work. I literally tried every single modality that is out there. And it took 4 years of rediscovery and accepting that I am who I am. I can have best of both worlds. I don't always as successful because obviously if I'm having a busy period in work, like at the moment I'm setting up this company, so it's taking so much of my time. So obviously then my guilt of not being present enough with my children is just skyrocketed. So that's hard, like really hard. But then
Mm.
I know once this company is up and running and I've got the staff in and it's taken over, I can go back to being, present. And I'm taking the whole month off in August to spend with my kids. So I'm working hard up to that point where I know then they can have a whole month of me in Portugal with my children and enjoying a great summer holiday off. So I think, yeah, the mum life is the biggest, hardest battle I've ever faced. And I'm sure most mothers will resonate. But getting through that was just basically invested in myself. I just chucked so much money into sorting out my demons and my issues, and then that allows me to clear the crap away so I could level up. And hence
Yeah.
why I'm here now.
Karina, you said that you've started a new business. So do you want to tell me about that? And why have you started another one on top of all the other businesses you've got?
Yeah, it was a complete accident. It wasn't my ambition to set up a lift repair maintenance company. It's not one of my vision board things. So, but I'm a sucker for seeing an opportunity. And I saw a Facebook post from somebody I know who once had a lift company and wanted to restart it. And he admitted that one of his strengths is business. Sorry, one of his weaknesses is business. He's an amazing, amazing engineer, got years of experience, but he does not know how to run a business, and he's not great
Mm,
with people.
right.
So he does not want to go under again. So I said I'd help him set up the company, could just give him advice and get all the processes up and running. But over the weeks that we worked together, it was just a really good combination. We both worked really well together. I understand him, which he was baffled by because not many people do. But I've worked in the industry, trades industry, especially
Yeah.
construction before. So I know how to handle that industry and I understand the people very well in there. And not a lot of people can handle them, but I can. I'm able to manage him mentally, emotionally, and he realized that this could be a good partnership. So we are now in the plans of trying to set up a limited company, and we've already taken on a few clients. It's skyrocketed in 1 month. We've just snowballed into something that we didn't expect it to be. So I can't really walk away from it now. I
Mm.
want to see this through because it is very exciting. It's going big, and I want to see it through now to the end. So I'm happy to go through with this partnership and see what we can make of it.
Mm. So it's maintaining lifts, wherever they need maintaining, basically. Are you, is it just, do you just stay local in Cardiff, or do you go further afield?
No, we've taken work up to Southwest England. We've
Right.
just recently had a meeting this morning with a company up in Manchester, and we want to see where this can go. So we've taken on a lot of contracts locally, and they're asking because they're national companies, they've asked if we can go further afield. So
Yeah.
we are now obviously in talks with other lift companies to see how we can work together. And now I've just got to start the recruitment process of trying to find lift engineers because they are very few and far between. I thought it
Yeah.
was difficult in the other industries trying to find cleaners and all sorts, but this is hard, and which is great for us because that's why we've been able to grow so quickly in the matter of a month, because there are no lift engineers. Like people want to be plumbers, they want to be carpenters, they want to be builders, but no one comes out of college wanting to be a lift engineer. So I looking at, I've emailed a female engineer that I'd love to take on and get more women into the trade industry.
Hmm.
So I emailed her a couple of days ago. So I'm hoping she'll take the position and then we can add her to our books and grow. And then I want to go into colleges and promote the lift and companies into female engineers, and I want them to grow because it's a kind of trade that it's not like builders where you have to build up walls and lug heavy things. Like lifting engineering, you do have to probably be dainty and you just have to be clever and technical. And so I
Yeah.
want to promote females in the construction industry. And yeah, so that's my line now is to try and recruit more female engineers and grow this side of the company where we can be national.
Hmm. Great. Well, I wish you all the success with that. I hope that goes really well because that sounds really, really exciting. There are always going to be lifts that need, maintaining, because if they don't get maintained, then serious stuff happens, doesn't it? So,
And I literally am now, when you're looking for a particular car and you see that car everywhere, it's like lifts now. Like obviously day by day, I'm just walking around and I go into lifts. Now every time I go into a lift, I'm looking around. It is so sad, but I'm just like,
are you a lift nerd now?
oh, it's ridiculous. I'm looking at the buttons, I'm looking at who's maintaining it. I'm like, why is this my life now? But
Yeah, yeah.
it's quite funny. My husband laughs every time I go into a lift now, but I am like, ooh, like a meerkat when I go into a lift, which
Oh.
I never, who walks into a lift and gets excited. So yeah.
Oh, this is a model 1095. Yes, very good model. Good year, that one.
Tampering with the lift so we get another job.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, this button's not working.
Sign me up.
Yeah. So, what would you say to someone who is looking to start their own business? What kind of advice, what kind of guidance would you give to someone starting
Well,
out?
like I said earlier about the self-development, I people could plug thousands of pounds into setting up a business, but I would always say make sure you're working on yourself as well. Like, yes, you can start a business. A lot of people have hobbies that they want to turn into business ventures, which is great, but a lot of it you do find that once it becomes a business, you lose the interest in it, you lose the passion because it's dealing with, crap customers moaning about things and the overloading of work sort of sucks the fun out of it, of the creation. So, but ultimately you should always try it. If there's something you're passionate about and you want to turn into a business, I would 100% go for it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And that's the problem. People are scared of failing. And I'm not. I would fail 100 times. I don't give a crap. And I don't care if it's all over
Mm,
social media. If I start something that doesn't work out, I'm not embarrassed. There have been plenty of lessons I've learned from that experience that I've taken on to be where I am now. So I'll never, ever not do something of fear of failure. So I would 100% encourage everyone to do it.
mm,
And if they find that it's not fun turning their passion into a business, then at least they know that there's jobs everywhere. They'll always be able to find a job. But if it becomes successful, then great. So it's a win-win situation. You're going to walk away with something. You're going to walk away with lessons, or you're going to walk away with an extremely successful business. So you can't go wrong with going ahead with it. But ultimately, I would always say you put the money into yourself. Make sure because you don't want to burn out. You don't want to come crashing down. You've got this amazing business, but you've just lost yourself through that process. So number one, look after yourself. Number two,
yeah,
create business.
yeah. Because it can be all consuming, can't it? Especially when you're starting out, you've got so much to plan, organize, think about, and everything else just gets sort of thrown to the side, doesn't it? And like you say,
Yeah.
if you don't look after yourself, then you're no good to anyone, are you? So you can't sustain that for any long period of time, can you?
And that's why on my list, at the moment, I've got about 30 things on my list that I'm going to try and do before school pickup, which is in 2 hours, which is not achievable. And I look at that list and I'm thinking, oh my God. But then I will always schedule in time to stop and meditate. So amongst, the messy house and the loads of cooking I've got to do and the picking up the kids, in my diary will always be 10 minutes of sitting down and meditating. So my life could be crumbling around, but I will make sure that at 10 o'clock I sit down and I meditate for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Or I will in the morning, first thing before the children wake up, I'll get up 10 minutes earlier so I can journal and just get all the crap that's in my head out onto paper.
yeah,
Or even if it's raining outside, I'll go sit outside for 10 minutes and just clear my head. I will always set time aside. And that is just as important as brushing my teeth. It's just as important as the meeting I've got with lift engineers in Manchester. It is just as important as picking up my kids from school. So I have those practices and those things in my diary that helps me. It's all just important. Everyone thinks that it's not. Even something as simple as taking a bath, like that is just as important as the 100 things that are on your list. So as long as I manage my diary well,
yeah.
and if I can't achieve all 30 things in one day, it's okay. I'll just run on to the next. Nothing has to be done right this second, which is where
Mm,
my excitement and my ego can take control. So that's why I have those little moments to slow me down and go, it's going to be fine. You don't need to stress about doing everything at once.
yeah. So have you got any other ideas, sort of any future plans? Is there anything kind of simmering away at the moment, or you
My
just
husband did
focus?
tell me last week, he said I'm not allowed to do anything else. He said, because there is lots of, the property investing, I want to start going into auction sites and I need to start taking that to the next level. I do a kids wellbeing retreat called Mindful Minis, and I want to develop a magazine so I can, because I wanted to scale that and I can't, because then I'll lose my community if I,
Mm,
get too big with the Mindful Minis. So I thought, well, why not turn it into a magazine where I can put all this information, all these fun knowledges and into some sort of print format that I can reach the whole world with. Um and I can get writers to come in and I can use different modalities and I want to show kids a different way because it's all well and good fixing adults who are broken, but why not get them while they're young? Why not show
mm,
these kids how to be resilient, how to all these tools and techniques to self-navigate this difficult life and to self-regulate so that when they grow up to be adults, they can handle shit. Like I want to create a generation of indestructible children. And that's the problem is, we're all navigating life. We get older and it gets to a point in our life where we're just like going to counseling or therapy because we just can't do it anymore. So my aim is to work more with children and teenagers. So yeah, I've got lots of things, but they're ideas, but they're in the companies I've already got. So it's just a case of slowing down and not opening any more, but just focusing on the ones I have and growing them.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds very sensible.
I know. Who am I?
Well, we've come to the end of our time, Carina. So before we finish, can you tell the audience how they can learn more about you, what you do, and where can they find you online if they want to?
My website's all dated. My Optima one is great, but my personal website is under review. My Lyft one needs a new one, and I don't really have one for my property investing. I just got an Instagram account. So Instagram is where I'm most active. I'm
Yeah.
not really a fan of LinkedIn because obviously I do a mixture of corporate and spiritual posts. So I find people think I'm a bit crazy if I start posting random stuff on LinkedIn. So I like Instagram because it's a bit more open-minded. There are corporate
Yeah.
and spiritual people on there. So I like Instagram. So people can
Yeah.
find me there. It's Carina A.G. Henriquez, which is my maiden name. But if you type in Carina Jenkins, hopefully you'll find me.
Yeah, well, we'll put the links in the description as well anyway, so hopefully people will be able to find the links, click through, and yeah, please everyone, please follow Carina. And if you've got any comments, please leave them below. So thank you very much for your time today, Carina. It's been really interesting talking to you, and I really appreciate your time today. It's been great talking. All the best with your business, and see you soon.
Thanks, Justin, and thanks for having me. I really loved it. It's been great.
You're welcome. You've been listening to the Better Business Podcast, brought to you by Farsight Films and Utility Warehouse. Farsight Films creates memorable video content for your business that helps you stand out and get noticed. Get in touch now to find out how Farsight can help boost your video marketing strategy today. Utility Warehouse is an award-winning provider of comprehensive utility services that bundles all your utilities into one, helping you to save money. Get in touch for a no-obligation 15-minute consultation that could bring you significant annual savings. Check out the QR codes on screen or click the links in the description to find out more. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. All the best, and keep building a better business.